After an encouraging start in 1995, the all 2-litre Dunlop Touring Car Championship blossomed in 1996. The Opel domination of the previous year would be challenged as Honda, Renault, Alfa Romeo and Peugeot were present to take on the numerically dominant Astras on the wet 4th round at Mondello. Kellett led on points but Cullen on wins. This time, however, Sean McGill and Joe Foley occupied the front row. Foley found the grip to get across McGill's bows. And as for everybody else, it was pure guesswork in those conditions. Jonathan Fildes, the first round winner, took the long way round in the Lynx Peugeot. And maybe it was just as well. Cullen was soon in Joe's tail. So Foley, first time out in the Astra, having transferred from Peugeot last year, finds it a little bit more difficult to drive, he said, but he will be very conscious of the multiple champion now in his wing mirrors, and that's not a very comfortable situation. Michael Cullen, such experience and such a calculating, clever thinking driver. McGill, great transfer from him to Formula Ford back to saloons, and we're moving up to see what's happening ahead, and you can see that Michael Cullen in the cable link car is closer and closer.
Yes, a superb man in the wet. But Joe Foley, well done. His first run on the Opel was very, very good in the Peugeots. As we're coming down into the S's, you see Cullen taking that title. And a little drier there, maybe a little bit more grip, getting a little wide. What he's going to do is try and unsettle Foley through these S's and have a look at the inside as he does. And the little tail, little slide there from Foley. Will he make it up the inside? Yes, he does. Michael usually does it a different way, usually follows them up to Dunlop and then takes the back way, but that time Foley just a little unsettled, stepped the tail out and Cullen is through. Now,
Cullen was starting the 1996 season as he'd finished the previous 4 on top. But I'm afraid there was little improvement in John Keeney's fortune. Two weeks later, the clouds had thankfully rolled by. Fildes rolled off the line in front of Kellett, but it all would prove to be completely academic. Kieran Greenan caused the consternation and considerable destruction to his 205. Thankfully, he survived the big impact, but not surprisingly, he did not make the restart.
Back at a restart, and poor Jonathan Fildes has it all to do again. Another start, but he does a copybook the same, but this time Cullen just gets to jump on Foley and he's up into 3rd place. But that's how they finished the last time. And remember, these two parts will be put together. We'll explain that to you later. Variable again being pushed out there, I think by the Honda of Michael Leonard it was, but he gets a clout there from Moffat for those two gone. And again, over the grass, Michael Barrable, but we're back with Jonathan Fildes. You can see that this young man is very quick through the left-hander, which brings him out into the country. Just the tail stepping out slightly, and look at Cullen. He can't wait to get at the back of Jonathan Fildes' car, but he's got to get by Gordon Kellett first.
And Joe Foley has a new shape Astra, a roadblock right ahead of him. This is a tremendous tussle. Kellett giving a little biff, I think, possibly there to Cullen as they came through. They couldn't be any closer. Incredible stuff. They're coming up the hill now towards Dunlop. Foley's waiting for a mistake, and Ward is waiting there in the Honda also. Look at this. This is for 2nd place.
Yes, and Ward on the inside there with a slight damage on the left-hand front wing. When asked would he put the camera in the car, Brian Ward said, no, do we like a session on Crime Watch? A little bit of crime there at the left-hand front, but no crime here. At the moment, it's all fair and love and war. All Gordon is doing is holding that inside. Ward, the minute he sees a gap, just dives down that inside, and it's no way, but just couldn't seem to get out of the corner that quick and left it all back in Cullen's hands.
I wonder if Joe Foley at the back there is just thinking to himself, this can't last at this sort of pace. But Kellett now got a little bit of a breather this time as they come down to the double right-hander, and right there's Cullen, and look at Ward, he must be touching there, not quite, in the Honda in 3rd place. Foley, 4 cars disputing hotly 2nd place. Meanwhile, of course, Jonathan Fildes out in the lead, but here they come again into the main arena.
Jonathan Fildes must be delighted with these 4 men falling over each other, but Ward at the moment did a lot of work on the car in the past 2 weeks and really has the Honda flying, but Cullen up there in that 3rd place. place, would love to be in second all the time. You can see he bounces through there, just caught the curb, a little bit of a nudge there from Joe Foley. Foley's got to keep the shoe in, but no, Cullen just closing that door. Not a lot of room there, not a lot of room.
That was an understatement, Mr. Chute. Things were getting somewhat fraught between the two rivals, and then Joe Foley decided to join the party. Out front, Jonathan Files was sailing towards his second win of the season, oblivious to the mayhem that was going on behind. Eventually, the shootout for second was down to the dueling Mark III Astras, Gordon Kellett in the Castrol car and Michael Cullen's National Batteries
And you see up the inside Kellett going, and will he get away with this time? He has. He's got out on a slingshot, and this will be the closest you're going to see anybody come down. I'm convinced the wing mirror was rubbing the barrier there, but in they come, right down on the brakes, side by side. Out wide go Gordon. Now they're moving in now to left-hander. Gordon should have the legs in here if he can do what Cullen did just as they come through, and he slides out, catches the rear of Cullen's car and spins them through. Not quite 180 degrees. You'll see it again. They're moving in. He's alongside. It's both their corners at this stage. But Cullen just turning in that little bit early, I would say, not thinking. I don't think he'd have done it if he knew Gordon was quite that close.
And so there was a big scare for Michael Cullen and a big score for Jonathan Files. The Files dynasty lived on as Jonathan follows in his grandfather Jack and his father Ken's tyre tracks. Gordon Kellett was now back in the lead of the Dunlop Touring Car Championship as they moved over to the big audience in Phoenix Park. But when Michael Cullen scored his fourth win of the season amongst the trees on Saturday, he closed right up on Kellett's championship lead. Sunday's race was purely for fun, and Joe Foley was having plenty of it. Brian Ward in the Honda snuck through to second, with Saturday's winner, Michael Cullen, in third place. By lap 2, Cullen was out of the picture. It was Foley, Ward and O'Connor. And in the park, it's only a matter of time. And Michael Barrable and Rod McGovern's time had come. Mr. Barrable found Mr. McGovern's behaviour barely bearable. Foley held off Ward for a time, but the Civic VTEC was singing along on the long tree-lined straights, and Brian could not be restrained forever. He slipped back into O'Connor's clutches when there was an almighty battle going on involving our two old friends, Kellett and Cullen. But the day belonged to Brian Ward and Honda, who joined Opel and Peugeot on the Dunlop Touring Car Honours list. Kellett and Kirkistown have always been a winning combination, and we had a camera on the Dubliner's roof as he sped off towards the Colonial section, with his championship rival behind him and Ed O'Connor's Renault out in front. In fact, Ed was proving to be a bit of an headache as the 2-litre saloons stretched their horses on Ireland's fastest permanent circuit. Some people never learn. That was Kieran Greenan again. And indeed, he was in good company, as Jonathan Files chooses Debtor's Dip to have his deviation. And a real battle now for second and third. This is Joe Foley coming up right up into the boot lid of our second place car, Gordon Kellett's Opel. So Opel second and third, and Foley very, very close indeed. And they slipped into the lead. Kellett leads now, slipped past O'Connor, who must have made some kind of a mistake. There is locking brakes as they come down into the chicane. So Gordon Kellett, with our roof cam, is now in the lead. And that's exactly where he stayed, with Foley just getting Ed O'Connor on the line. 2 rounds to go and only 9 points in it. and with dropped scores, Michael was in fact in a stronger position than it looked on the chart. The Leinster Trophy race was most notable for Jonathan Fildes' huge accident. Again, thankfully, he was fine, but a fire and a roll made it a very expensive year for the talented young Dubliner. Cullen and Kellett were at it again, with Michael Barrable mixing it in amongst the championship contenders. But Michael Cullen won for the 5th time, and when those dropped scores were applied, he moved to the top of the table. Gordon Kellett knows all about championship pressures. He's been there on numerous occasions before, yet he's never won the big Dunlop prize. This time, he must beat Michael by 2 places. On the other hand, Michael must finish, but 1 place behind Gordon would do. He was definitely in the stronger position.
We're ready for the start, and away we go. You can see just how quick Fildes was off the line there. Everybody getting 3 abreast. But up front, we're going to see some fireworks. McGill on the inside, Moffat just struggling to get around, getting a little outside. Michael Leonard well up there into 3rd place. But a wheel on the grass there for Moffat, doesn't back off and just catches the back of McKill's car. And they all spin through that very tight left-hander, which would cause mayhem.
Now we see it in replay from Kellett's car. We're just coming down into Coca-Cola. Now watch just ahead of you. It's the 2 Opel Astras who get into all kinds of trouble. They're just about to go off on the left of your screen. There's McGill spinning round to the outside. They both get tangled up, and that's the end of them. And after all that excitement, the 2 championship contenders came out of that mess in 1st and 2nd places. The only problem was the one that we were with, Gordon Kellett, needed to be ahead of the other, Michael Cullen. There was plenty going on behind also.
And oh, a space on the inside, and Barrable goes for it, catches Taylor, who pushes himself out, takes the front off Michael Leonard's car, and John Keeney pops up 2 places. As we get back through with Gordon Kellett, we're looking to see, look at the gap. The gap has increased dramatically, Alan.
And this must be very frustrating for the Dubliner here, because he just cannot catch Michael Cullen. Frustration also for 4th place man, Barry Barrable. And he gets it all wrong, gets a little tap there from Joe Foley. Joe Foley, as you can see ahead, has gone up.
And Keeney's going to take advantage of this as well as they stream down to Coca-Cola. Barrable in front, and that's Keeney.
Here's the leader, Cullen, out on his lonely way, and a man who's just played it so cleverly this year in the championship. Hasn't had that many wins, but always has been around to pick up the points, and it really is a dream day for him today. Well, let me correct myself in hindsight, as Michael was actually heading for his 6th win of the season. It was just in the points that he came from behind. Michael Cullen had now won the Dunlop Saloon Car title for an incredible 5th time. He is truly the king of the tin tops. Gordon Kellett must win the title someday, but in 1996 he would again be the touring car bridesmaid.
We're absolutely delighted. We had such a bad start to the year, but we came back out of the remaining 9 races. We won 6 times, and really it's due to this guy. Joe Murray has built and prepared the cars over the last 5 years.
There is no one more gracious in defeat than Gordon.
We've had a very good year, and we finished every race, pretty well high up. So all I can say is I very much enjoyed it, and to wish Michael all the best in his success.
So the Cullen family bathed in the bubbly yet again. Gordon finished 7 points shy of his great goal, and Joe Foley finished his excellent year in 3rd place. There will be much more of the same in 1997, when everybody will be trying to dispose of Ireland's saloon racing Schumacher.